How do you really know what's going on underneath the surface for someone in your life? Now, in coaching, there's always two things that we're looking at. There is the surface communication, and then there's what's below the surface. And we like to call that the emotional context. So it's what's the person looking for emotionally underneath what they're asking for, literally. And underneath what someone is talking about from an emotional level, we're all looking for the same stuff. And ultimately, one of our truest and deepest desires when it comes to relationships is this. We are always asking the question, not literally, but unconsciously and emotionally. We're saying, will you be there for me? Will you have my back? If I make a mistake, will you stay? Will you accept me with all my flaws? And these questions drive so many of our behaviors. For example, how many times have you been in a relationship where you've withheld something from a friend or maybe a partner or a family member? There's something that you didn't say to them and you didn't share it with them because you were worried about their response. And maybe at some level you were thinking, if I share this with you, I don't know if you'll stay. Underneath that is the fear that someone will leave us if they see or understand what's really happening underneath the mask or the surface communication. Our truest and our deepest desire is, will you be there for me? Will you stay present for me? Will you hold me in this space? And now how we communicate that between each other can range from really, really functional and direct to extremely dysfunctional ways. And so the two major ways we can communicate that is in a relationship, we have, say for example, there's a challenge, right? There's a challenge in a relationship. Maybe there's a disagreement between two people. The two major styles of responding to a disagreement is to either attack or to withdraw. And usually in a relationship, you'll find that one person is the attacker and one person is the person that withdraws. So an attack can be simply a request, and it could be like this: you're not listening to me. Why are you not paying attention to me? That's what we would define as an attack. So it doesn't have to be like a violent attack, just think of it as an emotionally forward movement. The opposite to this is a withdrawal. And say, for example, if you've got in a relationship, someone saying, why won't you listen to me? Why aren't you paying attention to me? Let's have this conversation. And then maybe the other person's version is to withdraw, and they take a step backwards. And so they do the silent treatment and they say, I don't know. I don't want to talk about it right now. I'm tired. Both of those responses are saying the same thing. Those responses are what we call the surface communication. Underneath the surface communication is the same message. It sounds like this: I'm too afraid to have this conversation. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I don't know how to talk about my feelings. I don't know how to talk about my thoughts. I'm afraid that if I say the wrong thing, you won't understand. I'm afraid that if I speak up, this won't go really well. I'm not sure how to navigate this, and if I do, I'm afraid that maybe you won't be there for me, that you won't listen to me, that you won't hold my space. Now, in all relationships, this is going on at some level, either consciously or unconsciously. All that means is you've got two people that are aware of it and they're talking about it, and they talk about their fears and they talk about their challenges. Or it's unconscious, which means the two people are completely unaware of this, and all they're wrapped up in is what's called the external drama, the external communication. And you'll see this in a lot of relationships, and I definitely know I've been in a lot of those dramatic relationships. I know what it's like to have those problems versus learn how to communicate things openly and calmly. It starts with knowing what to really listen to. Some people's version of saying, will you be there for me, sounds really unresourceful. It sounds like an attack directly at you. It sounds like I don't trust you. It sounds like you're not the right person to have this conversation. But underneath, the message is always the same. Will you be there for me? Now, this is appropriate when it comes to personal relationships and love-based relationships. And I'd like to encourage you the next time you're having a conflict with someone is to do your best to not just listen to the external message, but go further than that and try and listen even deeper to the emotional context of what's really going on for that person emotionally. This is the beginning of doing what's called meeting each other's emotional needs. Now, I know this is quite a large conversation, and I'm doing my best to share an introduction to this inside this video. If you've loved the sound of this, and if you resonate with this in any way, shape, or form, I want to encourage you to go ahead and click the link below. You'll head over to another page where I'd love to invite you along to a live global broadcast all about how we can coach through love. Go ahead and click the link below. I trust I will see you on the other side.